Hello and welcome to the What's the Crack Irish Bodybuilding Podcast. I'm your host, Neil Rennie. This is episode 3, and this is somebody I've wanted on for a long time. So today I'm joined by Brian Ward, who is undoubtedly one of the best sort of Irish prep coaches in the country and a very, very good bodybuilder in his own right. And I believe he's in prep this year, which we're going to touch on quite a bit as well. Thank you for coming on, Brian.
No worries, bud. No worries. And I didn't pay him. They say all them good things, by the way. We'll just
Well,
put
I'm
that
waiting
out
for
there.
after. Yeah, just I want to
No,
bring a little bit about your own sort of journey within you, probably from coaching more so to begin with, and then I want to touch a lot more on your own bodybuilding.
yeah. The coaching's one of my ones. Obviously, bodybuilding was always my passion, right? So me, I started off. I was an engineer, so I was like a programmer, and like I did we programmed like robotics. We did like automation for like big factories and stuff. So whenever I was bodybuilding, like you can see where the struggles started to arise here because the higher I worked my way up. So like I was always like a very driven kind of person. So like I was always trying to work my way up and be better at what we did. So I ended up in the job that I was in. I ended up basically one of the best programmers that we had, which came with a shitload of responsibility basically, and then it came with travel too. So I was kind of like the first man on the job and then the last man away. And so if we were like building a machine in house, once that went to site, I was kind of shipped off the site then too. So obviously being passionate about bodybuilding, it wasn't ideal. The travel really, really got them, and it was starting to really stress me out. Like so, I got to a point where my own physique was at a decent level. It was in 2019.
Yeah.
And I kind of like obviously I started my first show when I was like 2013, so I kind of just worked my way through. I didn't really classify myself as like a good bodybuilder or like in my own head anyway. Did like 2019 whenever I took the first overall. So at that point, then I thought, right, fuck, I could actually be good at this. And that's what led me to believe in going, right, I need to get out of this job if I'm to do this, properly. Like, and at that time, I was being coached online, and it was the online business wasn't massive back then. It was very, very few and far between. So I was with big Jamie Johill at the time, the Giant. And I was with him before he ever turned pro. So like I was kind of learning from him and stuff and how he did things. And I was thinking, this is a really good process, the way it all worked and stuff. And I thought, like over the years, everybody's asking me to like PT them and stuff. And I was like going, yes, I'm flat out. I didn't have time. I just didn't have time. Like, and I really would have liked to have done it, but I was on a well-paid job. I couldn't have left it, at that time. So whenever this online scene kind of came about, it kind of got the wee cogs turning inside my head. And I thought, well, you know what? I could help people as well here. So I just started basically advertising. And at that time, like I said, man, there was very few people doing it. So I started advertising, and straight away within maybe like a couple of weeks, I got like 10 clients.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
I was really overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed at this point because at this point, then I was like, fucking hell, I can't really cope here. The 10 clients coming out of nowhere. So that's how I basically started, man. And it was all kind of like lifestyle. Never went into the prep scene at all. Was just doing like lifestyle stuff to start with. And I started to get really good results, and I started to fucking really get a good buzz off it. I was getting a better satisfaction of that than I was getting off my own job. So it was like, right, is this something that I could be really good at? So obviously you had the knowledge built up over the years, and you were very, very passionate about it, so it was a no-brainer. So I just kind of kept it up. And my thinking at the time was, I'll do this. It'll be a wee bit of extra income on the side. It'll pay for my bodybuilding. It'll support that side of things. And in the process, it's a good hobby for me to have as well. And that's how it started, man. But it just started accumulating and accumulating and accumulating, and it just started. It got to the point where I think I had like 30 clients, and I couldn't take anymore because of my full-time job. I was at work basically meant to be programming, and I was like online
Online,
coaching.
online coaching. Did it get to a point then where at what point within your kind of, we were doing the job, your proper job, like, and online coaching, did you go like, right, I need to make the jump to go fully into coaching?
I think I got there about like obviously whenever you start out like in this year, this thing like it's trying to manage everything. What I mean, it's time management really, and knowing how to do your check-ins. Knowing how to like handle like the amount of volume coming through
Yeah.
your phone. And at first, obviously, I was very naive to it all. Like, so I was just kind of winging it. But then, like I signed up with like a mentor guy who basically showed me how to like structure things a bit better, which allowed me then to be able to take on more people. So that definitely was a turning point. And I got the about 50 clients. And whenever I got the 50 clients, I sat down with Rachel and I said, listen, I'm gonna go at this. I'm gonna do this. And like I said, it was a big call for me because I was in a well-paid job, like, and I was thinking, fuck, what happens here if this all goes tits up? There was a big risk here, and I thought to myself, worst case scenario, I'll fall back to what I do. because I knew I was good at what I did on the programming side. So I went into the boss and I just says, look, told him the crack. He obviously thought I had lost the plot. He's like, what? He's like, what are you doing? What do you mean? And I says, look, I'm going to do this online coaching, blah, blah, blah. He thought I was a psychopath. He's like, oh, Jesus, no. He says, like, we can't lose you. And he agreed, and this worked really, really well for me. He agreed for me to go from like a 5-day week down to like a 4-day week.
Right.
So now I had a full day spare where I could do more check-ins, I could take on more people, and because ultimately I was being overwhelmed. You know what I mean? It came to the point where something had to give, and I wanted to really pursue it because obviously I was passionate about it. So that's basically the way it went. He got down to 4-day week, and then obviously that became too much because obviously with the extra day I was able to do more clients. I was putting up more posts, and got more clients as a result. So I went down to a 3-day week, 2-day week, 1-day week, and then eventually just left. And then they wanted me to kind of stay on as a subcontractor. But go ahead.
I think the thing is, when you start getting to 50 plus clients, it really does start becoming a full-time job. It really does. Then it's hard to manage it, and you can see your client productivity even drop off with the service you can give. So at some point, it's that, which way do you go with it?
Exactly. That's where I was at. Like I was at, once I got that 50, and remember, I'm still doing a full-time job here. So, but bearing in mind, because I was doing the job I did, nobody really bothered me. So I was doing a lot of coaching on hours that I shouldn't have been doing it. You know what I mean? So I was kind of doing coaching full-time too as well. But hopefully nobody's watching this here that fucking was there. But that's what was going
now,
down.
Brian, it's mostly prep clients for the most part that you take, is it?
So basically, I kind of just kept growing that, and then at the point then where lifestyle, the passion's obviously getting people on stage, and arguably, see from like a business sense or whatever, you're gonna you could easily make more money doing lifestyle clients. Do you know what I mean? So that's where it came to the point for me where I had enough lifestyle clients and really passionate about the stage, really passionate about getting people peeled and putting them on. Just literally fascinated by that part, especially like peaking them and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm literally just obsessed with that stuff. So like the buzz I get of that. Once I did a few, I did it 1 to 2, and I was just hooked. And I thought, something, this is what I need to be doing. So I started to take on more prep clients at that point. And that's where too, again in the business, I brought on Matt. So Matt still works for me. He does some of my lifestyle clients. Like I still have lifestyle on my team. They'd be pretty much more advanced lifestyle, and then obviously prep clients, doing off seasons, doing preps. And then Matt Den's there as well. So he was a client of mine. So he was a client of mine from the very, very, very start. And I knew he would have been a good option because like he was very specific in everything he done. He asked all the right questions, and then his responses back to me, he was very smart.
Yeah.
And I thought this guy is the guy that I need. And I just asked him, and straight away he jumped at it, and the both of us just started. And like he's flying there now too in the lifestyle side,
I think you have to trust somebody a lot with that side of things. If it's under your name and under your business, going towards, right, I'm trusting you to coach the way in which I would like my business to run.
Aye. So the big thing there was like he was with me for maybe 2 years before we did this. So he knew exactly like the way he was invested into how I coached. He was learning off me, and like he had his physique at a good level. He was PTing for like 15 years before that. So he's very, very smart, like. And he's one of these guys where he's not out partying. Yeah. He's not out and about. So he was so reliable. Like the chances of getting somebody like this is few and far between. So I kind of landed nicely with him. But what we do is we just do like a weekly Zoom.
Yeah.
So like we go over the check-ins and like he's at a point where he can just fly on. Like, he's actually had last year he put a couple of first timers on stage as well. So he's now prepping people as well. Like, so he's at a good level. And like at the minute, the business is flying. Like, it's super busy. So super grateful for that. Like,
I've only been home a year, but every PCA Ireland show I've been at, there is a large volume of clients with you, which is obviously like it's part of the fun of it. I think when you're having a lot of clients, while it's stressful then weekends and then weeks leading into it, it's a good stress because obviously it's something that you've worked for. If you were to give advice for anybody to say, like, obviously we're online coaching that are looking to get into more of the prep side of things in terms of prepping clients, like what would your advice be for that?
I think first of all, you see prepping a lifestyle client and then like going to like prepping on stage, there's definitely experiences needed.
Yeah.
You need to have a level of experience there because ultimately like it's a complete different ballgame. And like anybody can get, like any coach will get somebody lean, but getting them stage lean, and it's not just about shredding them to the bone either. It's creating that like balance where they've got the look, they've got the overall look, you're not taking too much away from it. They've got a nice balance of fullness, condition, and then you've been able to land that on stage. So it is going to come with experience, like,
Yeah.
And if you've, say for example, for me, like I was confident from the get go, from show number one with my first client that I put on stage, because I've done it so many times myself. Like I've competed in 18 shows, so I knew a lot of what not to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's super, super fucking important, because there's so much information out there, and everybody's saying like you need to do it this way, you need to do it like this. But a lot of my learning and a lot of the reasons why like I have clients on stage really, really polished and stuff is because I know what not to fucking do. Yeah. Because I've made a lot of fucking mistakes. And I think that is key. Like my best learning, like, you've done all the courses, you've done the J3 universities and stuff, but like, it's only really brushing up and stuff that you already know. To see the stuff that I've learned the most has been through probably my own career.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. Is like you hear one saying, you don't need to walk the walk. Like I think you absolutely do. And then with that grows experience. Like I know from my own sort of personal journey in coaching, going from more lifestyle based clients to then sort of put a few first timers on stage, and then that getting slightly more advanced is only because I've been through that process, yes, with clients, but my own self. So the level of client I attract tend to be kind of in the same sort of ballpark in which I compete at.
Yeah. I think it gives you the confidence yourself, because like there has been scenarios in me where I've been maybe picking somebody, and maybe the body's not moving the way you want it, and there's no panic setting in there. You're just going, right, okay. You watch it unfold each day. So obviously, whenever you're picking somebody, we'll be like checking in daily, maybe multiple times a day, just depending on the physique. Some physiques are very predictable and it's a lot easier, but you do get the odd tricky one. And I think where the experience comes in is whenever things don't go the way it should go, you've got it mapped out. Like whenever I do a peak week, like I try and like map it out roughly how it's going to look, just so it takes like a wee bit of stress away from the client as well. They can see roughly what you're trying to do. And every day it's subject to change, so you're just tweaking variables or whatever. And sometimes it doesn't go the way it should be going. And that's where some people would either just be blindsided if they didn't have the experience and just continue on and hope for the best. Whereas I don't panic at all, and you just change approach, because there's no like one way fits all. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
I think that's where the experience kicks in, because if I didn't have the experience I had, then you would probably shit yourself whenever it all goes wrong. You think, oh fuck, what's happening here?
Oh, I panic ensues. My first year, I remember the same thing, going, oh, this isn't what I read in the book. And then obviously with time and doing it, you can react a little bit better to it in a more rational way.
It's because like it gives you a sense of calm. Like I like see now, whenever like obviously too, I've put on so many people on stage now. So like at the start, like whenever I was prepping my class, I was sick, man, to the bone. I was fucking sick, because you're like, oh fuck, you need to land them, and you were panicking, and it's just in my nature. Yeah. I'm like an overthinker, and I'm thinking, fuck, couldn't eat. Every show weekend, without fail, probably lost 3-4 kilos.
I can relate.
I'm thinking, madness, like, and even if the clients won, like, you're just like, once they're off stage, it's like, oh, I can relax now.
Yeah.
But the more you do, like, the more you learn, like, they just kind of settle yourself and stuff, and it just comes with experience, man. Like now, like, I don't really like. I can't see myself getting phased by any prep. Do you know what I mean? But that's just the confidence, and that confidence is built over like landing people time and time and time again, and just remembering, we can do this. I always say to myself, you're the best at it. Just keep focused, stay focused, just do what you do, and believe in yourself. Like, because I think a lot of people focuses on what other people think of them too as well, and what if this happens, what if that happens, instead of just focusing on the task. Like, we've got a job in hand. Let's just fucking land it. Job done. And then you like see every time I do a peak as well, but like even if they land like what I call like perfect, I still pull it apart.
Yeah.
No, I still look at it, because there's wee points over the week where you're thinking, fuck, that could have been a wee bit better, that could have been a wee bit better. And it might only be, maybe nobody else notices it, but I'll notice it. And I tear it apart, like, and that's why I'm always learning. So like for me, like even with experience I have, you're always still learning, like, and that's my advice to anybody as well. It's like, you see too many coaches and they go, oh, we landed it, it was perfect, and blah, blah, blah. And they're blind to the look. You're going, well, it wasn't fucking perfect. You could have done this better, that, but you always, like, I always dissect it, like,
I think you have to be very open to that. Otherwise, you say you're not learning. I think that would go for any sort of facet of life, but particularly in this business where there is so many variables, and some things can always be a little bit better or approached slightly differently as well. So if you're not doing that, you're more than likely kidding yourself to some degree.
100%. I've seen times where, like, obviously I see the peak unfold throughout the week, and I see different things, and I'd be open and honest with my clients as well. Like, I say, look, there was the sweet spot. Maybe we pushed that wee bit too far. See, on stage they look absolutely nailed, but to me, I'm going 1 or 2 pound down would have been better. Yeah. And then, like, if you're doing multiple shows, that's the advantage of, especially if you're doing like peak to peak to peak, you know, multiple shows. I think it's important to assess each one and see where you could improve, because if you just look at it and go, well, no, fuck, we look well, we won.
Or we
And you're
won. I think
blindsided.
that's it. Sometimes that's the validation, even though it's not necessarily like you get the result, but it's not always right. Well, that was bang on where we could have been.
Might not be the best look. Do you know what I mean? You could go on and do a show that and you're slightly off, and you know what? The competition wasn't there that day, and you won, and then you're thinking, fucking happy days, this is it. We'll repeat that. Well, in reality, if you dissect it, no, we need to be better. You know what I mean? So I think that confidence just comes with experience. So like anybody getting on it, I think you just have to start like with first timers and stuff, and then just work your way up to more kind of advanced people. Then like,
I want to touch on your own bodybuilding at the minute, Brian, but obviously you're going into a prep for it's Galway in around, was it November 17th? Is it?
It's the 10th of November.
November,
and then the week after that is going to be the Worlds in Amsterdam.
right?
So that's a week of prep, you know.
What are the expectations in terms of like, you know, with your own bodybuilding? Is it to be like go down the IFBB Pro route? Is it to be PCA World Champion? Like, where does that lie for you?
See, to be honest, for me, like it started off for me, I just like first of all I wanted to won my first show, so I did that, and then like you won the novice, and then you won a few like open classes and stuff like that there. Then you want more, man. You want more. You're always kind of hungry for more. So like the thing in my head was overalls. Like I had this thing in my head, and people probably looking going, "You're fucking mad," but like I didn't really like. I knew it was decent, but it didn't classify myself as good until like I won an overall. So like in 2019, I was just obsessed. It was like literally like that drive that I had then, I definitely don't have now. By the way, like I was like a fucking, it was just like go. Everything was bodybuilding. Like Kiara was just thinking overall. Every time I struggled, I was just thinking overall. And in my head, there was no other way it was going to pan out. And like we did get that overall. And then once I got that, it was just like, right, fuck. Now I just felt like kind of like, right, I can call myself a bodybuilder. Like I feel like I'm decent.
Validate it kind of thing.
Validated a wee bit, because I think with ourselves, like we're always our worst critic, man. We tear ourselves, like I tear myself apart. Like so, like no matter what someone says about you online, you're gonna probably think worse yourself. Do you know what I mean? So
You've seen it and said it to yourself 1,000 times beforehand.
you know, and there's a lot of noise online now too. Like so, you have to be thick-skinned in this game, hey.
Well, talking of noise online, there was some shots fired earlier in the month there. Obviously, you're going up against Phil Abram, and he was saying, ask Brian why he can beat me.
Well, the thing about it is like that show, right? So this show in November, like there's gonna be a few of us going, like there's gonna be good competition there. But like did Phil ask a question,
why can Brian beat me?
He needs a machine gun to take me down.
I think it's great in terms of having a little bit of rivalry. Like that's why I like doing this sort of thing as well, because it gets people talking, but it's all from a good place. At the end of the day, but somebody else will just push you to be even a better version of yourself. I think that makes the sport grow as well.
100%. Like Phil will be fueled, like he'll want to beat me, want to beat me. But the thing is about it, it's hard to compare, all right? Because ultimately, when we look at Phil, like Phil could be good.
Yeah,
he could be very good, but we haven't seen it yet. Do you know what I mean? Because like he's always just must have marked that well up me. But will he land at this time 100%? I hope he does. You know what I mean? I hope he does. Like because ultimately then we've got a battle on our hands. But I'm kind of looking forward to November because I don't know if you follow. Do you know Rory? Rory O'Donnell.
No.
Rory O'Donnell.
No.
He's very fucking good, man. He's very, very good. Like he's a PCA judge as well. So he would have judged the PCA shows, the PCA Ireland shows.
Right.
So he's a PCA judge. He's a very good bodybuilder. Like, and obviously he's done a lot of shows. He's won shows, and you know he's placed high too at like British level and stuff. So he's a fucking unit. Like that'll be a showdown. Like, and he's in the medium, and that's what he's prepping for as well. So like for me, I'm kind of looking forward to stand beside him because you know we always have the Craic, and then you know he always would be very like complimentary to me about like my clients at the shows and stuff about their conditioning and different things. He's just a really sound lad, and he's obviously big in the bodybuilding. But he comes in fucking granite.
Yeah. He
comes in granite. He's got them genetics where he's got lines in his glutes, and he's like you a wee bit. Do you know you've got
anyway.
in there? You've got the
that's a bad problem.
You've got the lines in the glutes, like so. He's gonna be hard to push off. Like you know, I think like when we look at me versus him, shape wise, I'm probably slightly better shape and stuff. Condition wise, I'll probably match him over, but them glutes that he has won't be matched. Like he's
yeah.
So that's gonna be what I'm looking forward to the most about it. Like, but See, I was planning on going earlier this year. I was planning actually going September, but then obviously the appendix shit the bed on me one day, and that was me surgery again. So it postponed things a wee bit. But the big thing for me, go ahead.
So no, I was thinking, I think stop there, but how have you found like this prep, like comparatively? Because obviously you've been with quite a few like other coaches as well. Like, what have you found different with this one that you've ran comparatively, say, to other ones in the past?
So, the biggest thing for me, right, is I have a habit of like doing too much. And like whenever I go back to my last season there in 2022, I was with Joe Jeffrey, right? So I was with Joe and everything was going grand, right? But during his prep, there's no refeeds. So here's me like literally digging every single week down, no refeeds, didn't believe in refeeds. He believed that the PDs in the background would hold the tissue, hold the performance, and then I was feeding back to him saying, listen, my performance is dipping here. You know, he says, no, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. Everything's covered. Didn't believe in the refeeds. And here was me prepping my guys alongside me. I'm feeding them burgers and chips. They're getting refeeds. And I'm seeing the benefits from it, obviously. But at that point, I had full trust in him. And I thought, you know what? I just need to try this. So we did that. 24 weeks, no refeeds, no nothing. Jumped into the first show. And see, to be honest, the first and second show was very, very good. We were peeled. We were nice and full. The luck was there. But after that, I remember the conversation he said to me, he's all, before the second show, before I even stepped on stage, he said, are you ready to dig? And I thought, what the fuck? What the fuck are you smoking? Like, am I ready to dig? I'm fucking skinned to the balls here, man. So basically, I was like, right, this is, look, listen, my mentality, I was like, I'll do whatever's needed. Like, you know, so I went on ahead, and that was the NFM UK show. I went on ahead, won that, got the GBO Pro Card thing. And then we went back for the pro show that night, did the pro show. And then obviously we had 2 weeks to go into PCA London. So I was kind of doing a show every 2 weeks, which again, there's lessons in that as well, because I don't fucking way too many of that. Yeah. We'll touch on that as well. But anyway, he put me down to 1,400 calories, right? And they put it into perspective. I was on 2,500, right? And I was dropping a kilo a day. So obviously, because we filled up, you see, and obviously had a wee bit of food post show. Yeah. So I was dropping off and depleting on 2,500 calories. In my opinion, it should have just been left there, let it settle, you know. And he came up with 1,400 calories. And fuck. I was right, fuck it, we'll try it. So I done it for 3 days, bro, and I couldn't get out of bed. That was me done. I texted him, I said, I'm done. I'm finished. I says, I can't move.
This was after already doing 2 shows and being like very, very lean at that point as well still.
I was peeled up. See, when you look back, but I was peeled up. Peeled up. And then that's me where now I see it, like, and I see my toxic trait is I push too hard. And I'll literally go tunnel vision to the point where I'm fucking skin and bone if I'm lefty. So this is where I've kind of learned and matured a wee bit as an athlete myself, because I wouldn't let my client do that.
Yeah.
No chance. It would never happen. But then I was doing it to myself, letting somebody else do it to me. But that was me, my mentality, thinking I'm not working hard enough. I'll do more. And obviously I won the first 2 shows. So like I was going, there was an element of trust there. Third show one, I said to Rachel, I said, see, no matter what the outcome is of this, I'm bowing out. I'm done. I can't let that man control me anymore, because he doesn't know. He was a very good coach, but then he was too science based. Yeah. And he just lacked the experience in between shows, you know, especially with a heavier muscle bodybuilder. Like, so it was like, I need to get out of here. So the decision was already made. And I touched base with Cuba at that point, you know, and obviously still did the show the week later under Joe, but I touched with Cuba. The reason I went with Cuba is because obviously he's big on fatigue management. And then I thought too as well, if there's anywhere else I can learn, I could possibly learn something on the training side. You know, that man's obsessed with training and stuff like that there. So I thought, you know what, I'll go to him and we'll see how we get on. So I did the show and the PCA show, done that. Man, I was washed out looking. I wasn't great. Like, I was flat. I was just, body was fatigued as shit. And after it, I was just like, because my eyes were set on the British finals, you know, and that was the whole point. It was like, get a couple of shows in before the British finals, you know, feel good and see how the physique looked, and then jump on. I was in no fit state to do fucking anything, man. Destroyed. So we had to take 2-3 weeks driving food back up to drop off of fatigue and stuff, and we did get it back. We got the physique back. See, to be honest, if I'm honest with myself, it wasn't me back to my best. The first 2 shows was the best. The third was arguably probably the worst. And then the last 2 then at the back end, we redeemed it again. Like, we pulled it back. Like, we did the British finals came third. And then we did the week after we did the Ireland show, and we took overall. We won overall. Now, in that Ireland show, and that, like I said, in that one on that sort, I was not at my best. Like, I was not at my best, but I had called him because it was number one. It was local to me. If I didn't do it, people probably would have called me out and thought, "You fucking."
Yes.
And I was called out, and I thought to myself, I looked at the physique and I thought, it's good enough they won. I think I can pull it off, and I did pull it off. You know, we pulled it off, and it was decent enough they won. So I was happy with that. But see, to put it in the perspective, right? My legs, obviously, being because of the knees and stuff, is obviously going to be the weaker body part. They sucked away. Like if in the off season, I would have like striations in my quads and stuff. The quads would stay decent. They would have striations all year round. They would stay pretty lean. See seeing that show at the end, no striations. And then it took 12 weeks after that show, they come around to get striations back in the quads, man. That's how fatigued.
Back into your off season to come right into that.
So that's 12 weeks.
Much in terms of cardio and that side of things that you were doing, or was it more just from like that literally pulling food down so low for so long?
Pulling food down was the damage side. The cardio was maybe only 30 minutes, like.
Right. Okay.
The cardio wasn't like it was just literally like see if you've got somebody who's skinned like from show number one. You can't there's going to be a fine line there where you can get some more, and after that you're just sucking from the physique. Do you know what I mean? So like I should have been on maintenance calories between shows, coming back to baseline. You know, so say for example now if I have a client and they're going from show to show and they're ready to show number one, there's maybe things that we can take back and go, well, you know what, we could be a wee bit fuller there, or maybe we need to be a wee bit sharper there. And if that's the case, if it's a wee bit sharper, then fair enough. Like, you know where your baseline was before you loaded, bring it down maybe 2-3 points below that, and then load again. And then you know you're being safe. If you have the condition absolutely nailed the way we had, we should never went past that baseline. Do you know what I mean? Show to show, just come back to that baseline and fall back up again and repeat the process. And each time you would have got fuller and harder anyway.
What do you think that he was seeing at that time that was leading him to think? Did he think there was more still to come off at that point?
See, whenever you see me, whenever I start to get lean, I start to get freaky, like grainy, like striated, and really, it's that grainy kind of conditioning. So like he was buzzing off that, like, and he was like, "Oh, fucking hell, this is freaky. Like, how freaky can we get it?" Like, and that's what he was. He was just looking for more, and the reality was, the more he sucked, the less freaky it got.
Yeah, it's
you know, so the fine line. There was a fine line there, and we
were you following that sort of model? Obviously, like, you know, be like reps in reserve, a little bit of deloading, sort of escalating volume. Was that a similar model in which you ran during that time, when and you enjoyed that?
that training as well was disastrous, man.
I was going to say, you're still like the sort of guy that would enjoy that.
I tried it, and I just said to him, "Listen, I can't do this training." I says, "I cannot hold back." So basically, it was so fucking, like, on paper, apparently this works, right? I think it's fucking a load of balls, man. I think it's a load of balls. You're doing 3 reps in reserve week 1, 2 reps in reserve week 2, 1 reps in reserve, and then you're going to failure for one week.
Yeah.
And then you're fucking deloading. Yeah. And it's just like, nah. And they top it off. He had me training 6 days a week.
Yeah. I mean, I tried it. I was with was it Mike Edgertail on that at a time when I really just first started, but it literally killed my enjoyment of the reason I even done bodybuilding, which was like training. You know, it was a library session rather than training at points. It became to me. So I can like, when I listen to it, something going, yeah, it kind of makes sense when you start putting in like that. But at the same time, in application, I never found it to be particularly beneficial, and was very slow and just killed actually the intensity kind of mindset that obviously like sets us up to be bodybuilders, you know.
The thing about my training was, like, I learned back in a young age from like Big Dave Fox, right? So basically, I was just literally, whenever I started off, I was like 10 stone maximum. I was so skinny, and I went on the pro gym, like, at the time, felt like a fucking absolute weirdo getting on there. But anyway, stepped on there, got the bravery, went done. They were all stacked back in. So this was back in the old days where there was no social media. It was just fucking old school as hell, and it was a mental environment, man. And so I was looking around these boys, and I was just a wee twig, and nobody took me serious. So I fucking stuck at it, like, and I was stubborn enough. I thought, you know what, I'm going to fucking do this. So I just kept at it. And eventually I got my training myself to that point where Big Dave said to me, he says, "Look, do you want to train? You can train with me." So he was prepping at the time. So you can picture that. This is this man in his fucking prime, prepping. Is he this wee skinny boy with him? He destroyed me. And I mean, I was outside every day being sick. And boys were all, "What, you're never going to last. You're never going to last." No, I was strong enough. I just kept showing up, man. And I mean, I was dead. So he kind of taught me that intensity, just balls to wall failure. He did like a lot of volume as well. which to be honest, I kind of still do. Like I like a wee bit of volume on there as well. Maybe it's just because that's the way, you know, I built the physique throughout the years, and he taught me that. But he taught me intensity. So see, whenever I'm doing Joe's model and I'm sitting 3 reps in reserve, it just does not sit right with me at all.
Really counterintuitive to how you've like been in this for the last whatever 10, 15 years that you've done it. It's very hard to switch that and even buy into that necessarily too.
I tried it. Like I tried because ultimately you'll not learn. See, and you've got to close just to what works, and that's it. And this is the way it needs to be. Then you're not going to learn. You know what I mean? So I tried it, and I just realized that that's not working. Like, you know, that's not working. Like, you know, I kind of like to do like maybe 1 to 2 working sets, do a back off set, but also like to add like intensifiers in there as well.
Yeah.
I like that type of training, you know, where I'm taking the muscle to complete fucking failure, because see that reps in reserve, carry on. Like a lot of people, like say for example, you used it with your clients. Well, if you look, and I don't know what you like, but whenever I get my feedback videos, I'm looking anyway, and someone's 5 reps in reserve, and this is them going to failure.
Yeah,
they're going to failure. So like, if I turn around and tell them to stay 3 reps in reserve, you're not going to get any results.
I think it's a good way to ensure, like, train to failure is a good way to ensure that you're not leaving anything on the table. You know, especially when we're trying to coach people maybe online, it's like it's very, very hard to gauge it. You nearly have to hope that they get a very, very high level of knowledge about themselves and their own training to even start planning that out. And then there is the bias of actually being able to actually do that and want to do that and not maybe do too much that the model breaks down. You know, like to me, it's not it's not a way I like to coach or a way I like to train myself per se. Is it froze there?
I think we're losing a wee bit of connection there. Hey, I hope it's not
on
my side. Hey.
The 10-minute side behind. That's because you live up in the middle of nowhere, Brian.
I'm on the sticks, man.
I know.
It's actually brilliant. There's nobody comes near me.
You have your own garage gym you train out of.
Yep.
Did you just train by
I've basically built that. Train by myself now, man. So whenever, like, what I used to have a training partner, by Christie, and he was a monster, man. He was 20 stone. He was a fucking big 6-foot guy, strong as a fucking bull, and I was just a wee guy chasing him, and it worked really, really, really well. And we trained like psychopaths, but like back in the day, like we just trained like psychopaths, and that's basically what built the physique. Probably what's led to half of my injuries now, is because like there was no form, or the best way I could describe it was probably like Brian Swarn style stuff, just throwing shit about, and that. We didn't know any better, and that's what we love to do. We just love to just train hard. So that's what we were at. And that kind of broke down because Big Christie he did a few shows, and then he was kind of getting dragged away, and then I was still competing. So like I kind of dropped him off. And then like I trained with him for about, so he's probably my only, him and Dave was probably my only 2 proper training partners. After that, then like it was like you get the odd person.
Yeah.
Man, they weren't reliable.
Yeah.
And then I find that if anything, they were probably just pulling from my energy. You know, they weren't feeding me anything, or I was just like, fuck. You know, so I started training alone, and I kind of learned, like, I knew what the intensity was anyway. So whenever that lockdown happened, it was becoming a real pain in the ass, man, to get to the gym, because where I live, it's kind of on the border. So we had guards right at one side, and then we had police at the other side. So and you had to kind of dodge both, and then a couple of times the gym got raided, and then a few times then we got chased by the fucking police, and I was like, what is going on? Like COVID was.
I actually remember you competing. I think I was in the same show. It was my first ever show. It was straight out the back end of lockdown in the tent at Two Bros.
That's right, I
remember that one. Like that was an experience that should have been enough to put me off bodybuilding at the time, to be honest. And that tent, like, but yeah, it was a mad time. Did you train all the way through that? Obviously in lockdown, then in different gyms.
So basically, we had a kind of go-to gym, and then whenever that got shut down, it was like, right, fucking, I need to do something here. So like I got like a rack, I got some dumbbells, and I thought to myself, I basically I had the car garage, and I just converted it into like a gym. So I thought to myself, fuck it, if I'm going to do this, what do I need? So I started to buy like the bare essentials, like, and to be honest, most of it was leg stuff. And I got lucky. I got like a Cybex leg extension. I got some really, really good fucking leg equipment. So I started training on there over lockdown for that show. And I swear to God, man, it was fucking very, very peaceful. And at the time, I was super busy because, see, during COVID, I was programming a production line for them tests for Randox.
Right.
So I was literally fucking working there at 2 a.m. And having that gym there, I couldn't get time to go to the gym. Like every time I went to the gym, my phone was going. Them boys were ringing me and ringing me. I was just getting tortured. So that's basically what drove me to build that wee gym. And then I seen how good it was and how like my training and stuff and how handy it was with the workload and stuff. So I ended up just knocking it through and extending it. And we just literally fully kitted it. Like, so there's fucking everything out there now, man. Stairmaster.
Looks a good spot. It really does. Like, I've seen some of the leg stuff, and like, actually out of interest as well, because obviously I'm sure a lot of people are watching this do know about your backstory as well. In terms, you had a pretty severe quad injury, leg injuries, didn't you?
So basically it was 2019 as well. So 2019 we did 3 shows kind of back to back, and the last one was the NABA Worlds, and 2 weeks after, or was the week after, that we went on holidays. So it was a 10-day all-inclusive holiday, and we were 5 days in. And I'm going to blame Rachel because she set me up. She goes, "Oh, there's football on up at the wee pitch." So fucking, of course, me and Ray went up. He was only 6, and I went up. And I thought, like, you know, it was for the kids or whatever, but it was for everybody. It was kind of mixed. So Rory, he was in there, and he had the bub on, and the bub was like literally down to his ankles. So that's the size he was on the pitch. And I thought to myself, we were playing the wee match. I thought to myself, fuck, this is getting rough. Like, I says, Rory's probably going to get hurt here. I'll probably.
Yeah.
And this wee boy fucking, I got down, and the wee boy must probably seen the size of me, and he just absolutely fucking took me out. And see, whenever I fell, the 2 knees just went bang, bang, gone, snapped. And then I was kind of lying there going, "Oh, this is fucked. This is fucked. Yes, this is bad." And a few of the foreigners was like, "Oh, no, get up, get up." And I was like, "Don't fucking touch me." You know, and it was just fucking mad. Like. And the only way I could describe it was like the 2 legs were like bent under me. And it was like someone was tasering you on the legs. Someone had a taser gun on the legs. They were just trembling. Like
both legs.
Both legs, aye. Fuck. 2 of them just went, and it was like an elastic band. It just was like, just both snap, bang, bang. And I just hit the dirt. And it was just like, oh, fuck. I knew straight away, you know, no one you know.
Yeah.
And then their sweat just started passing off me, and I was like, I fucked it here. And the only thing I could think, as my body, you know, I'm fresh coming off the back of the overall ones and like the force on the NABA Worlds and stuff. So I'm coming off this big high, and then next thing I'm lying there with 2 snap legs. It was just like, oh, man. But it was one of them ones where they sent me to hospital. The Portuguese hospital, and that was an absolute disaster, man. I'm there, like they just literally left me in a trolley in the corridor, and I'll never forget this because like there's a wee woman about 90 sitting facing me, and I was busting the piss, and I was like trying to stop people. Nobody spoke English, and I was like, oh fuck me. I was like, right, I need to pee here, like, and I was like, the boy has to say I need to piss, and he's like, oh, toilet's down there. I says, I can't walk. She hands me a bottle, hey, and your wee woman's just sitting there staring at me and hanging. I'm just sitting pissing in front of her, and I'm thinking, this is fucked up, like. It was a mad experience, man. And see, to be honest, it was they basically plastered past my 2 legs straight, left me in a bed, and just left me there. Nobody came back near me, and I was like pressing the buzzer and stuff. Nobody came near me. I had to ring Rachel. She got the rep. They got a private ambulance to come and collect me, because they said to me, "Oh, you can get crutches." I said, "Right, well, where's the crutches?" They says, "Oh, it's in the pharmacy, but it's 2 miles away."
I'll help you crawl there.
I was like, what the fuck? You know, you're sitting there not knowing what the fuck's happened. You know, they just plastered Paris with 2 legs straight. So I get home anyway, they lifted me under the bed. And one of my clients at the time, he was, I think he's a manager in Aer Lingus. And he messaged me, says, what happened? I said, look, I need to get home. And he goes, I'll get you a flight. So he got me a flight. And he says, you're going to have to send pictures to the airline. So I sent the pictures to the airline. They said, no, you can't fly. Your legs need to be able to bend. So I was like, for fuck's sake. I said, listen, they're broke. They're snapped, like, you know. So Rachel had to break the plaster parcel at the back, bend the legs, and I was just like on agony. And take a picture and, you know, to prove it, I could like get on the plane. It was a fucking pantomime, man. So did that. They got me to the airport. I was getting wheeled about in a wheelchair with some wee Portuguese dude, and they eventually got me on the airplane. I had to go up, you know the back. No, obviously you've got the steps and stuff.
Yeah.
I had to get like a wee forklift thing, a wee crane to get me up on the back doors. Like, I didn't even know if my leg would work.
What was that? Did you think that was it, done in terms of bodybuilding at that time, or did you always have in your head that this was going to be like you're still going to get back into it?
I thought it's fucked. Like, I thought it's fucked. Like, especially after the surgery. Like, we get the surgery done, and they put like a steel wire in there as well, and man, the pain was just fucking next level. Like, it was next level. And then they were saying, I said to the doctors, like, what's the story? Can you train again and stuff? And he just looked at me and thought, He says, if you're walking again properly and you can do normal things, you'll be doing well. I just thought, fuck, you know. So it was rough, man. It was rough mentally, like, but I just remember I was in hospital, I think, for like 10 days. And then I got out. And then I remember just Rachel saying to me, you'll be fine. You'll be fucking fine. No, you do it. And I just took this attitude then. I don't know if I was deluded at the time or what, but I believed it. And I thought, you know what, I will fucking come back. I will fucking come back. And every single day, and just one was just like recovery. Like, but my legs were like 2 pegs, bro.
I can
It
imagine.
was fucking. I have pictures of it, hey, and I swear to fuck, if they're thick as that arm there, maybe the maximum they were, it was ridiculous. And I was coming out the back of the show, so like I was still big and full and shredded, and I got these 2 pegs.
Honestly, Brian, credit to be able to come back from that. Like, I mean, do you have an overhang from that now in terms of how you train, in terms of your physique? Like, is it something that you're still aware of when you're training?
The thing is, like, people see you and they see you walking about and they see you training and stuff, like, it's every day. You can't, they're in your head, like, you know, when they're sore, like, you know, when they stuffing up a lot. Like, I can train legs good if they're warmed up, but some days you go on, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You know, even to this day, you warm up, you have all the great intentions, but then sometimes maybe the one of the knees is flared up. You can't push it, like.
Yeah.
You just can't push it. So I had to change my training. Like, obviously, I do a lot more. I do like a higher rep range now. So I still try and do like progressive overload, but I do like a 12 to 15s. There's no way, like, on legs, you'll see me doing like a 46 or a 68. No fucking chance. Because, like, you seen like Brian Hickey there, you seen like Big Conor McGee there, on them squats going down, bang, they just snapped. So, like, what's they stop mine from fucking going? So it's like every single leg day, it's just like, right, you know, you just have to tick what you get. And just try it, like, time under tension.
Yeah.
You know, pause rep at the bottom, going a wee bit later, but you're still taking the muscle to failure. So, like, I was able to grow the legs back. And the legs are definitely
with that, Brian, because obviously, okay, that works. Your legs are up, especially from you were saying where they were to where they're at now in a space of a few years. Like, with that sort of time under tension, have you taken any of that side of things? Given that obviously you've been bodybuilding for a long time, putting your body through what we put our bodies through, but for a significant period of time, have you taken that into other aspects of your training, say with any other body parts? You know, if that works, then does it work better?
exactly.
You know,
I found it's taught me a lot. Like, and obviously the way I used to train, like, they obviously build my physique to a certain level. I can't train like that anymore. Like, my back as well, for example, fucking, well, it was 2 years ago, whatever, in the holidays, completely went like a disc went out.
not going on holidays.
But I got an
Not going on holidays.
I know. Same boat too.
All as we lads then too.
All I was doing was put my sock on, bang, back went.
Yeah.
And I was just like, going, really, this is fucking nuts. But anyway, I got an MRI done, and the bottom 3 discs are like bulged slightly.
Right.
So again, like, my training for my back has to completely change. You know, I don't do anything bent over that's not supported. Yeah. So my training as a whole has completely changed. Like, and obviously we're getting old too. Like, so the wear and tear now. I'm 38 now, so, you know, see, in my 20s I was invincible. Early 30s probably the same, and then now you're starting to feel the effects of it. So, but like that time under tension and the way I train now, it definitely, I use it for all body parts, because you see, like, for example, like, my shoulders now is not going to be what they were 10 years ago. So I can't shoulder press fucking what I used to shoulder press and stuff. In fact, see, for shoulders now, because they're a strong body part, I literally do 3 sets of side raises and that's it. I don't even do shoulder press. You know, so my training style has completely changed. And I think for me, it's just a matter now of where my physique's at. It's just trying to fill in the gaps a wee bit. You know, try and fill the gaps in a wee bit and try and be as balanced as possible. So training has definitely adapted massively. And I do believe, like, having that wee bit of time under tension, doing that slightly higher rep range, I think works better anyway. You still get the same response. And I think there's less risk for injury there as well. You know, I think as you get older, you definitely need to probably, say, for example, you're in your younger years, you're doing, like, you know, the 4 reppers and the 6 reppers. I don't even see the benefit in that. Like, unless you're a strength athlete, I think 10 to 12 is minimum.
I think it's fun, and there's ego involved in it when you're getting started, and sometimes that's like the little taste of the ego that you need. But at the same time, by a point, like, I know my knees have something that's given me grief now for 4 years, to the point the surgeon said I needed knee surgery, had to stop bodybuilding last year, and it was much like yourself, not to anywhere near the same degree as what you've had. But I just need to find a way of still doing this sport and enjoying it, but understanding that training needs to change.
Did you get surgery or not?
No, I didn't want it yet, because it would that would probably be the end of the bodybuilding for me.
Is it cartilage or what is it? What's wrong?
It's tendinosis, so not tendonitis. So it develops so much that it becomes something that's basically just going to fray and can go on you, because it's like the tendons in your knee, your quadricep tendon should be like 4 millimeters. Mine was measuring at like 15 on both knees. So to the point it's just scarring. So it's continually like you say, like you're always very aware that you're in pain and you can manage it to a point. But again, it's like the frequency in which you can train, even the ranges of motion now is getting to a point where it's a little bit difficult. And I think when you're bodybuilding, you're always very aware of what a weak body part is. And you can't train them maybe to the same degree that you'd want,
I see this was nearly a deciding factor for me as well, going into prep, because my back is probably limiting me more than my knees, but then the back is probably coming from the fucking knees as well, because I'm not bending my knees as much as what I should in everyday life, so I'm overcompensating with my back, and then now my back is a major issue, but I've been able to kind of sustain it a wee bit more this year, and I definitely noticed as well since I've got that appendix out that the back has definitely settled a lot, so I think that was flaring up inside as well and causing a wee bit of havoc in there too with the back and stuff. And I was like thinking to myself, like, how can I, go through a prep and be confident in my ability if I can't even fucking train? You know what I mean? Every week I was injured, man. And when that back goes, you're fucked. Like you can't train legs properly, you can't train back properly, and you're thinking there's no way. But the last, like, I'm not trying not to jinx myself here because I actually said this on my story the last day that my back was great, and then I fucking tweaked it on the leg press. So well, fucking try not to jinx it, but like I'm able to train now the way I need to train for the prep, basically. But like see when it comes to your legs, like, is it sore from start to finish, or is it only whenever you start to go heavier? Where are you feeling that?
I would feel pain every single part of the day. Now, it's at that point, it's like, so, I was trying to bring quads up, do a bit more frequency on it, but literally everything. If I trained them, I know there's going to be 2 or 3 days where it's really severe inflammation to the point I couldn't really get up under my own weight. That's where it's at now. And I think, you talk about bodybuilding coming to a certain age with it. Mine's maybe came earlier, so I kind of have a limit and I go, that's as far as I'm maybe willing to take it. In terms of that's where I'm willing to push it a lot of times. Because even before we come on this call, we talked about I was going to maybe do that novice British finals, because to me that's probably like potentially the pinnacle of where I can be competitive at within bodybuilding. Yes, you get pushed to class 2, but it kind of comes at a what cost kind of mentality to me then.
Yep. I think with that novice British, I would do it, because the thing about it is you only get one slap at that. Like you only get one chance at that, and you have to think to yourself, like, your conditioning is what's going to set you aside. Do you know what I mean? So like we said already, like with your conditioning, you coming in fat free, you're almost guaranteed that top 3.
Yeah.
Like I've been at all them shows, like at like the Universe, the British finals, the whole lot, and obviously a lot. You outside that top 3, you probably the condition just starts to slip, and that's a deciding factor. Like you don't need to be the biggest. The condition kills. Like it really does kill. Like you can beat some really good physiques. I've seen it happen time and time again where there's a wee guy there who's pulled as fuck, and there's a really good bodybuilder, maybe big round muscle bellies, really well put together, and they get body bagged simply because they didn't bring the condition. So
that was something you said to me during my prep this year. I remember it, condition kills, and it's something I had very much in my head the whole way through. It was like, right, well, that's got to be, like, that's the only way you can be competitive in it from my level. So, no, I mean, it's interesting there as well, because you actually talked about, the shows and being at a lot of shows this year. And I kind of want to sort of gauge your opinion, because it's something that I'd like to get you on again, Brian, to be honest, because I think we could talk all day here. But what is your opinion on like the Irish bodybuilding scene, where it's at currently, or even just that sort of amateur bodybuilding scene in general?
See, to be honest, like, see if you take a step back and we look at the bodybuilders we have here, it's fucking next level. There's really good quality. What's happening is there's people avoiding shows and maybe doing like foreign shows, jumping across to England, doing the European shows, and you're not seeing the depth and the quality that we actually have here. Do you know what I mean? I would say too, is a lot of it's down to like ego and stuff. A lot of it's down to ego stuff. Some people is probably afraid they get beat on home soil. Say for example, like I go to England and I'm beat. It's very easy to turn and say, "Oh, lineup was stacked," blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas if it's here, everybody's there to see it. And like the thing about it is in this game is like there's always going to be somebody better. And like bodybuilding's a game of like who shows up on the day.
Yeah.
So I think like I think that the PCA is definitely bringing more of them together. I don't think we're oversaturated with federations over here, because there's only really like even if we look at muscle contest that passed there, I think it was a light show. Hey, yeah. It was a light show. So PCA seems to be the most popular one over here. NABA, which used to be obviously the Holy Grail, like we used to, like us growing up, that was the goat. Like that was a show everybody wanted to win. That's dead.
It's dead. It really disappointed me, because growing, like, I was sort of, you're probably a generation ahead of me, and I was growing up going, right, there's the NAA Universe. That was the one I really wanted to go to. I went to compete in NABA this year, and I thought this is a literal shit show in terms of how it was even ran, advertised. Like, honest to God, you know, it really was poor.
They're way behind the times, like
Yeah.
behind the times. But like I think we have the quality here. I just think we don't necessarily see everybody go together at the one time. Do you know what I mean? And then bodybuilding in general, I think there's just too many shows.
Yeah.
Like over in England at the minute, it's just madness. There's a show every single week, and you know, closer to like the start of the year where you have the Universe, or maybe you have a couple of pro qualifiers, you'll get good quality, and then in between times the quality goes to shit, and that's whenever you start to see people online commenting about like people coming on off and different things, like because the standard's not there. It's just too diluted down. I think there needs to be less shows, and then obviously get deeper lineups.
That's it. I think I've been a lot of ones obviously traveling back and forth with more like an English client base, but I've seen like where in the past you'd have had, especially like men's physique and stuff, would have been rammed to the gills. You know, actually even it has like come down to sometimes there's 2 or 3 in the class, just as you say, because literally there's every week now. Don't be wrong, it's great that people want to compete, but it's, you know, you need to be, I feel there should nearly be a standard in which you can commit, you need to commit that. You know, you can't actually police that, but it's really disappointing when you're seeing people that are just way off. You sort of wonder, well, what are they looking at, or who's coaching them into that to some degree as well?
I think is like just see as a coach like sitting back and watching that, and then obviously like for me, I'm big into conditioning. Like I'm a condition man because it is separates the difference. It is the difference. And when you're watching it, it's just like there's too many people that's half-assed it. And there's too many people, I believe, like even their coaches are snubbing it off. They're not actually going, well, you know what, we need to be better or whatever. It's just it's not frowned down upon enough, I don't think. And you know, I think it almost takes away from the people that actually does bust their ass, comes in, nails hard. You know, they don't get the credit they get whenever, you know. I understand too as well. Everybody's at different levels, you know. But there should be, in my opinion, like I agree with you, there should be like a level. Like, don't go on this show fucking looking 10 weeks out. Like, you know, come
It's
on.
even the photos, Brian. Like you see, what that sounds like it was slagging match, but I've just seen it, and it's like you know somebody there that's bust their arse, right? There's a couple there in shape, there's a couple aren't, and then there's somebody just way off, and you're in the photo, like you're winning photo, and somebody's standing on the edge, and you're like, no one's looking at you, the winner, even though you're paid. They're looking at the guy in the end. It's like not committed. It's to that point. It's like, you know, there's just too many shows, I think, and it's nearly almost became from not being accessible enough to being like nearly overly accessible, where maybe it's not even good for some people to be going down that route.
It's a money game, like it's a money game, you know what I mean? They say it's for the athletes and stuff like that, but like there's fucking just too many shows, like, you know. And see another thing I'm seeing happening, because there's so many shows, right? Them judges are judging week in, week out. And what's happening is they're starting to rush the judging.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely seen this where people is being overlooked, and then people's maybe not getting a fair shot. And you're thinking, well, what the fuck are they seeing there? Because, you know, like I would have a fairly good eye, and you'll know roughly where everybody should be. And you see some calls, and you're thinking that was just rushed.
Yeah.
You know, and especially towards the end, like see the gears near the end, because the show's starting. Obviously, they've got the bodybuilding first and stuff. It's earlier in the day. See later on when the females comes on, like they're fucking literally thrashed through.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do need that wee extra bit of a look. Because, like, you know, there's too many. Because when you look at it, right, and you've got a bikini class that's stacked, and they all have the front, and then they turn to the side and stuff. Someone's a wee bit nervous and different things. Someone's not even in their poses properly, and then they're turning again. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And this is something I always like say to my clients too, is because seeing that bikini class, they start to rush through that very, very quickly. So you need to be able to get into them transitions pretty quickly. Obviously, you want to make it flow, make it look as natural as possible, but you need to be almost first and last out and get that transition quickly, because I've seen so many times them called the next turn and they're not even on the shot. So they're completely overlooked. You know,
even
so
the PCA posing seminar we were at, they were saying, we don't care how you try, like, don't have your stomach out, but we don't care about fancy flowy transitions. We want it, we're just judging, you know, front shot, back shot, side shot, like get out. It's kind of basically because they've that many people and that many times they're judging. It's like they just want to go boom, 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 right, reward.
I've had a few times where like I've been obviously passed on going like fucking hell, what's happened here? You know, and I know I chat them and they say, Brian, we can only judge what we see, and if they're not on the fucking pose, what do you want me to do? Yeah. And I'm like, well, can you not like fucking give them an extra 5 seconds here?
5 seconds.
Like, it's too late.
And obviously,
you know,
Two Bros show this weekend. Like, I'm not sure in terms of like how busy that will be. It's obviously the first one in Northern Ireland. Are you at it?
I'm actually at it because Well, we're actually putting Big Fenton in. He's 6 weeks out, right? So
He looks,
basically,
he's a giant god. He is
he's big. Hey, he's 40 pounds up since from stage weight, like, and he's coming down there now, and there's lines coming, like his glutes are on from the side, from the back. You're starting to see glute lines as well. So I'm saying, going to myself, fuck it, you want to just, like I said to him on Tuesday, it was literally just Tuesday. I said, well, we jump on it the weekend.
Yeah.
And he's like going, I says, obviously we're not going to be 100%. I said, but you're 6 weeks out. He's 6 weeks out. He's doing the PCA show. So he's game. So we're gonna jump him in. He'll be in the super heavies, like, obviously. But he's fucking, man, he looks good.
Very, very well. I seen him obviously at it wasn't the first timer show, was it? He was in, or was it?
He did novice. He went the novice class.
Yeah, and he looked good then, like in terms of condition, like you bring your guys in, but just seeing him on Instagram, he's just fucking.
He's huge now.
No.
He's huge. Like, there's 40 pound of difference there. So, like, I would say stage weight when he's peeled, he's like 25 to 30. Like, he'll be up. I mean, it's only 6 months off season. He just blew up.
It's impressive. Like, body just ready to grow. Was he bodybuilding? Obviously not. Was he bodybuilding before that? Had he done a show prior to that last one?
He'd done one show before. But it was just like, he wasn't taking it serious, if you know what I mean. He just kind of, whenever he started with me, then we just kind of locked it down. Because I think he was the way, Tom Hames.
Yeah.
I think it was with Tom for Bell. And then he came under me then, and we did that show. Like, we did a bit of an off season, and we jumped on the show, like, got him fucking peeled. He did the day show, he won that. And then we went to the British finals, and he placed over there as well.
Right,
so the lineup over there was big. He was novice as well, so he was the same as you. His lineup over there was pretty stacked. And again, Fenton at that time, he was still a wee bit patchy, do you know what I mean? He still needed a bit more muscle. And like, because he's so tall, we still had to fill him out. Like, so literally the feedback looking at him, he just needed to be bigger. Yeah. But he was dialed in. And that's what obviously got him on there. Because I think there was about fucking 16, 17 boys.
Well, that's good. That was the British finals and the Telford one last year. Yeah.
It was a big lineup. Like, he done well. Like, he done well to come with that. So, but that's the one you're thinking of, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's my thoughts. I go back and forward on it at the minute. I've done a bit of a reset. I got up to about 235, which I have as a beam for about 5'8", and then it was like, right, I just want to reset my calories for a little bit, just bring the food down before I go again. And then I started dropping off body fat. I'm like, fuck me, I could be in here in 8 weeks and give this a go, because it's more, part of me kind of goes, this is like a counselling session now, but part of me's going, as I say, it's like, right, my goal is to get better in bodybuilding, and I'm already stuck in this off season. I've already done 5 shows. But then it's like, I will not get to a British finals level again. I'm not willing to give it the years that it needs, to be honest, doing what I need to do, or the knees won't hold up. So now, after talking to a few today, I'm like, fuck, I just go at this now and do this British finals and see where we land with it.
But that's the thing. Like, the thing is, like, you've got nothing to lose. Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're getting in that competition. It's going to be a big lineup, but you know your strengths. You play your strengths. So you don't need to be looking at that going, oh, I need another 10 pound of muscle for that novice class. You've already done pretty fucking well in the novice. I don't think, were you beat?
No.
At all this season?
No.
So you fucking, like, you've won for a reason. Like, and I think if you just bring in that condition, fucking granted again, obviously you will be slightly bigger. You'll probably be slightly taller, maybe a pound or, like, maybe you could even be 3 or 4 pound heavier.
Yeah.
Just to feel dialed in and, see how you fare, because ultimately you can enjoy that and you're against people at the same level. Once you then, like you said, you go up on that medium class. It literally is a fucking Shark Tank up here, like, in that medium class. The medium class is stacked, and you need to be really filled out, like.
There's another,
and that's going to take
3 or 4 years before it. So I know myself, in terms of that being like competitive at that level. That's the thing with it, where this would be a bookmark in it, I think, now, to maybe go on and move forward with that.
Because you don't know how you can do. You could do really well. Like I said, like, I would argue, if you come in with that level of conditioning, you'll be right up in that top max shape in that first call out, and like, that's all you can ask for. Get on there. Let them see your face and battle it out, and then you're going against the other. Like, if you look at the novices that won this year, has there been any real mad standouts? I don't think so.
No, I was obviously being at them. That's what I was kind of looking at as well, as going, like, where do you stand? But there's a couple there, you're like, they're very, very good as well. So it'd be a matter of trying to bring that condition in. But that's the excitement of it, I think, is going to them big shows and being competitive at my level now before moving on.
You've got the bug.
Oh, man, I love
it. You keep trying to get away and it keeps pulling you back.
My wife's cracking up now. So that's a fucking text of the day. Put a post on Instagram, should I do the novice? It's like, no. So just blocked her in the story, though. So yeah, Brian,
Oh,
honestly, mate, I think we could probably back and forward with this all day. I'd love to. I think we talked about in the past is maybe get a few PCA review shows, especially after maybe the Ireland Dairy one, will be quite good to do.
yep, yep, yep.
So I think something like that where we can maybe pull up some of the winners in that on the screen and even just talk through the show in general will be good in a couple of months' time.
I don't know ways because I know there's a few guys in the UK does that. Like it's pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
because you get everybody has different opinions and different things, but like if they see the difference is they have the reels. They have the reels that goes up, but obviously if we're there and you've got the photos and stuff, you can still review it too. Like so,
I think the thing as
good,
well, the reels never tend to they never do it fully justice in terms of somebody's conditioning. When you do pull it up, you're like, oh, get my own photo up,
Aye, see if you're slightly off, you're fucked in that reel.
Yeah.
And even if you're on, like it'll still make you look a wee bit soft in areas. So you have to take them reels with a pinch of salt. And that's why like there was a wee guy last weekend. He was a classic short, and I seen him on the reel. His reel come up. I didn't see who else was competing on the show. I seen him come up and he was so fucking clean and he was dialed in, and I just thought I wrote under it, sword pendant. And he fucking took out two big bodybuilders. He took out that Aziz boy.
The overall, the boy that won the overall. Yeah. He was sharp, like he was last week.
Man, he was quality. Like, and you've seen it on the reel. Like the quality, you could see his hamstrings is good. He was dry, like he was landed.
I think there's a bit of a kick up about, obviously the bodybuilders sort of saying about, how they awarding the overall bodybuilding to a classic. But I think when you come in that sharp, it's really hard to deny. Like the guy that won the tall, Ben Featherstone, I think his name was, he's done in the trot and won a lot of them. So I think he was expecting to come in and, take that very handily.
This is what happens there. So he's won the sword maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He'd done the two bros, won overall there. But what you have to remember is the quality isn't here yet in the middle of the season. Like, so he's not really tested fully. And I actually seen a picture of him the week prior to that show, and I thought, fuck, he actually is pretty good. He's a big boy, and he was dialed up. But see, whenever I seen that wee classic guy, I just knew I was like, that is clean physique. That'll take some beating there. And I think it was the right call, man.
Oh, I agree. I think looking at it, I was at that show in person where he won the sword, and it was like he was big, and definitely really in certain areas, like far better bodybuilder than I would be. But I just seeing when somebody comes in with that level of like crispness, detail everywhere, it's really hard to deny that. And he wasn't necessarily that small either, to be fair.
Well, he was super balanced. He was like good muscle abilities. He was just freaky genetics. Like he had definitely freaky genetics. You put a bit of muscle on that guy, and that boy could turn pro. So he had that look about him, and it was just so clean and so dry and separated. I thought, fuck, that's going to be hard to beat there. But they spat the dumb out. The big boys spat the dumb out, because like say if it was me, for example, too, like, and you're beat back, like you'd be thinking, fuck's sake, you'd be gutted, like, But I think his problem there was he assumed he was going to get that sword.
Yeah.
Because he continued to say as well he was the best bodybuilder there that day. But like, who told him that? You know what I mean? There's a tall bodybuilder one there. There's a short bodybuilder there. You can't fucking. I
think you're better. From my lesson this year in general, and a lot of it on, if you're going to lose, just keep your mouth shut. don't bang on about it.
No, that's the thing. The big thing I've learned. Like I've learned it over the years anyway. And like obviously when you're a wee bit younger, you're maybe a wee bit more naive, but like you can't be a sore loser. Like in any sport, like you're always going to have ups, downs, and like you're going to be beat and different things. And some of the best lessons I've probably learned is from times I've been beat. Because if you're winning all the time, you're not going to learn too much. Whereas the seconds and the thirds, they fucking make you think a wee bit more. They make you kind of question things. So I've kind of learned anyway, and it's probably just obviously maturing as the sport goes. But you cannot be a sore loser. Like I cannot stand it. Like, and I think too as well. The more you coach people, and the more you see, like sometimes I've had clients who have been fucking on the money, and I'm thinking ain't gonna be beat. The next thing they're beating, you're thinking, what the fuck, like, and sometimes I get really, really annoyed about it. But then I've just learned that no, you know what, this is bodybuilding. It's an opinion, and something. The way I see it is for me myself. Like, see if you're beat, you haven't shut the door hard enough. You know what I mean? You need to come in on the money, be undeniable, shut the fucking door.
Yeah.
And I kind of said that day, like, we Ross, remember the whole handling kind of kicked off with me and him and stuff. Like seeing Derry, he was again. That was a shit show. The internet nearly stopped that day.
There was a lot of popcorn out then, so it was. Let me tell you.
My DMs just went fucking. I was in holidays. Oblivious as the whole handling had kicked off, and I just logged in. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? It was just all true. But like I said, like see in Derry, for example, Ross, he was against Lee that I had, and Big Lee was on the money too, like, and Ross came in, but like he was undeniable, like.
It was.
You know, he was just too good. He was just like that day because Ross did NABA the week before, and I know they it was obviously their first peak and stuff, but I think he was probably a bit too full. He was sweating and stuff like that there. So I thought coming into this day show, I'll bring Lee in. Granted, I'll bring him in nice and dry and hard. You never know, we might pop it. But like Ross came in just fucking absolutely spot on. So it was game over. You know, he won it. He won the pro card, and it was deservedly slow. So like, and obviously that whole kick off him was like, I was just saying to Ross, like, you know, I think in Derry, like if you'd come in like Derry, like if Ross had come in Derry or in muscle contest like Derry, it was game over.
I'd agree.
Because hell man, I was sitting front row, and when he came to the front, it was just fucking granite. You know what I mean?
And I personally I watched the contest in Ireland, and it was obviously at the Derry show as well. And just to touch on it without going too deep into it, like I still would have went and looked at Ross and went, I think Ross is, in my personal opinion, as again it's a subjective sport, Ross is still the best bodybuilder on that stage in Muscle Contest Ireland. But what happened was that, as you say, the door was left open a tad because he just wasn't as granite hard as he was at PCA. So, that was my take on it.
Aye. See, the thing is, like, see that wee guy, that like wee light heavyweight guy too. He has been doing that show year after year after year, and he's been winning it. I don't know if he's Brazilian or what. Like, could be bodybuilder as well. Obviously doesn't have the size that Ross does. He was arguably drier in areas, so whenever they're looking at that there, it's just literally what does the judges pick?
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't go in your favour. Like, but I just think that if he had come in like he came on PCA, it was just fucking there was game over. It was game over. Like, that wee bit drier because he's fucking that density that he has, because he's obviously he's blown up the wee physique as well.
Right.
The density's there. Madness, like, I was impressed on Derry, like, so
I think his front lat spread was really good, and then from the back he looked, especially through the glutes in Derry, he looked fantastic. So it was impressive, but it was entertaining week or two, to be honest, watching it. But it's one of those things, is bodybuilding, as you say. But he's in very, very impressive physique. I'm sure he'll come back as well, as you say, learning lessons as well. Him and his coach, and probably nail it next time around.
100%, 100%. If you think about it, like when it comes to Ross, like he has never been off like very many times since fucking. I've been competing with him since like 2015 maybe, the whole way through. Like, and we've had our battles the whole way through, but he's never been off. Never. I mean, he's a good bodybuilder. Like, you can't take that away. Like, obviously that shitstorm kicked off. I just messaged him straight away. You know what I mean? We just started within 2 minutes. It was done.
My mother's just came in. Mom, I'm on a podcast here with Brian.
Don't to get the peel.
This is the daily thing. That's the daily thing.
Don't to get the peel.
Get us 2 minutes opening it up.
Cream bun.
That's every day. She comes in and brings me dinner, sure. Brian, I'll have to wrap it up here. But mate, honestly, it's been class having you on. As I say, I think like going over the shows and that would be excellent to be able to do that. But I think like where if people want to follow you, where can they find you?
You're breaking up there, but
mate, that's the mother. Honestly, that's it. She's ruined the whole thing
again.
No, mate, if people want to follow you,
do that wrap up again, or else just hit the big button.
It's
so obviously Instagram, bwardy1986 is probably the best.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll put a link for your bio underneath so they can find it there. My mum's completely ruined the internet when she came in there, but it's generally great having you on. We'll talk. We'll get plenty more as well. So I'd give Brian a follow the podcast. It's something I want to do a lot more regularly. I want to keep on pushing bodybuilding. I love it. Brian clearly has a massive passion for it as well. So if you're interested, follow me at Neil Rennie Coaching on Instagram as well, and on the YouTube channel. Cheers, guys.